Let's get to the Carlos Ghosn story, because it looks like maybe, James Freeman, this Tokyo court is hearing the outrage from the West and from capitalist countries like America. I thought Japan was a bunch of capitalists. Apparently not, since these two guys are still sitting in a jail cell.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable conclusion. This is very rare for the Tokyo courts to say no to prosecutors when they want to extend detention. And I think it's reasonable to think that Tokyo is looking at this reaction from around the world. A lot of people in countries like ours saying, wow, they don't really have the due process that we think of. He's been detained now for about a month, and he's still not free, because even when this court says to prosecutors, you can't detain him further without trial, he still remains in custody while they appeal the decision. Another odd thing Americans are not used to. So I think it's really disturbing, and for Mr. Kelly, Mr. Ghosn's colleague as well, who's got the medical condition,
American citizen,
needs a surgery on his back to prevent permanent problems from spinal stenosis. It's kind of appalling from our standards of justice. Now, we want to be careful not to impose it on the rest of the world, but I think anybody deserves certain due process rights.
Right, and one of the first questions I asked when this first happened was, what kind of a judicial system throws you in jail without any charges? Because for the first 2 weeks when he was in detention, there were no charges. And let's just remind viewers what is going on here. There was a movement that Carlos Ghosn and Greg Kelly were pursuing to merge Nissan with Renault, the French car maker, and the Japanese government didn't like it, and certainly a lot of people within Nissan did not like it. The fact that Greg Kelly typically partakes in these board meetings digitally, and then he said, I'm going to be on the videography again this time, and they said, oh, no, we need you here in Tokyo. They lured him, they tricked him to get him there. They tricked Carlos Ghosn as well, and they arrested him on November 19th, and they are still in detention. By the way, neither can speak to their family, and neither can even speak to their lawyers at any time. It's just extraordinary.
It's outrageous. And I think people don't understand it, and they're surprised that this is Japan. I mean, it seems like something that might happen in China.
But based on
That's right.
Wall Street Journal's reporting, there was an uprising going on within Nissan against Carlos Ghosn, and he didn't see it. Again, when the investigation was announced by the CEO of Nissan, there were cheers, according to the Wall Street Journal's reporting. And it was described like a volcano ready to erupt within the company. So it doesn't go to the issue of rule of law and due process. However, it does go to the issue of a CEO that was wildly disconnected from what was going on in the company.
Yeah, but I reported it also, actually, on day one, in terms of this unease about Carlos Ghosn's plans, and I questioned it right away.
Well, he is charged, to be clear, with underreporting his income. We don't know whether that's true or not. We do know that the CEO of the company was not a fan and was working with the government that led to this situation.
It's pretty hard to underreport your income by $44 million.
Alone in a vacuum. There's a board here, and there's also a compensation committee, by the way.
Yeah, right. We're not saying he's innocent. We're saying everyone deserves due process.